Replacing the violin strings can be an easy task, but we want to be very careful in order to not break the strings or cause the bridge to fall. So we're going to start by replacing the G string. So we're going to pick our violin up and we're going to start by unscrewing the peg right here. And then we can pull the string out gently, unscrew a little more, pull the string out until eventually it just pops out. Put the peg right back in. And then if we go back to the base of the violin string is held on by a metal ball. And so we just kind of want to put our finger underneath the tailpiece and just try and pop that ball out, just like this. We're going to grab a new string, and each one of the strings is a different size. So we want to make sure that we get the right string for the new replacement, and they should be labeled with G, D, A, and E, so it should make it really simple for you to figure out. You're going to put this ball end into the hole of the tailpiece and slide it through into the little slit here. Then we're going to pick up the violin and we're going to go up here to the peg, and we're going to turn the peg until we can see the little hole that the string gets put into. And just like you thread a needle, we're going to go ahead and thread the violin string. Now, if you're having a little difficulty threading it, you can slide your peg out a little bit to make it easier to fit the string into the hole. Alright, so once it gets threaded, then what you're going to do is slowly wind the string, and the goal with this is to try and make the string as lined up as possible so that it doesn't overlap. If it overlaps, then it's not going to stay in tune as well as if it doesn't. So we're just going to tighten that until it gets to the point where it's almost taut, but not quite. Then we're going to set the violin down again. We're going to double check to make sure that the string is still attached down here at the tailpiece. We're going to line up this string so that it's right in the spot where the old string was. There'll be a little notch where you put the string into on the bridge. And then we're going to slowly tighten it. And as we tighten it, we're going to look at our tuner over here, and we're going to tune the note just like we would when we normally tune our violin. So we're going up to G. Now, when we get to the point where it's almost in tune, we want to just push the string in and hold it there. Okay, now this is holding, so let's move on to the D string. We're going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to be very mindful of the fact that just because I replaced this string, this peg is going to want to pop out a lot. So we want to be very careful to make sure that the tension stays on the string. So we're going to pull this out, just like we did the old one. We're going to go down here to the frog and pop the ball out just like that. And then we're going to grab our D string. Remember to check the label to make sure you're grabbing the right string. We're going to put the ball end in the hole, slide it through the little slit right here, pull up, and then just sort of lead it down the violin. And we're going to pick up the violin, slide this through the little hole in the peg, and then we're just going to start to turn the peg as we sort of guide the string to make a nice straight winding of the string. just like that. When it gets almost tight, we're going to set the violin down again. We're going to check to make sure that the string is stuck in the tailpiece, that this is lined up with the bridge, and then we're just going to tune it just like we would on a normal violin. So we're going to go ahead and turn. Keep turning. Just like we would when we're normally tuning. When we get to D, we're going to push in and hold it there. Now, I wouldn't worry too much about making sure that it's perfectly in tune, because we're going to mess with that a little bit in a second here. So now we're going to do the A string. And so we're going to pull out the new string and then twist the old peg, pull this out, set this down, take out the ball, and sometimes they like to get stuck in the tailpiece, so you just sort of have to wiggle it a little bit until it pops its way out. There we go. And we're going to take the new string. Now, one thing that you'll notice about some of the strings is they may have a little plastic part attached to them. The plastic part is meant to go on to where the string touches the bridge in order to have the string not cut into the bridge too much. So we're gonna go back down like we did before, hold the string, put the peg in the right spot, find the hole, thread it through, and then just create a little bit of tension as we turn all the way down till it gets almost completely tight. Now, we want to double check to make sure that this doesn't pop out like this one did. So we're going to loosen this up just a hair, and we're going to slide this into the tailpiece. We're going to loosen it up just a little more. Okay. Slide this into the tailpiece, and this ball is having a little bit of a hard time connecting, so we're just going to have to slide it back a little bit. Now, as you can see, there's a little plastic part right here. This is supposed to go right here on the bridge. So, make sure that this is tight. We're going to pull the string tight here, and then we're going to line up that plastic piece so it fits right there. All right, so we're going to hold the tension on the string here, and then we're going to go up to the top, tighten the A string, make sure it goes right into the little niche that's always carved out for the strings, and then we're going to tighten and tune the violin like we always do. Make sure you put a lot of pressure on your pegs as you tighten the strings, because they like to pop out a lot. Turning. And as you can see, it's falling flat, which happens a lot when we have a new string. Now be careful, we don't over tighten it like I just did. All right, so we're at A. Now we're gonna do the E string. The E string is the worst string to do because it breaks the most often. So we want to be very, very careful about restringing the E string. So we're going to pull this all out, and then we're going to grab our new E string. Now, you may have a ball end or a loop end violin string. It doesn't matter which one you have. The loop end sort of looks like this, and the ball end looks like this. It has like a ball in it. So if you have a ball end string and you have a fine tuner, you just simply attach it to the fine tuner just like that. And then we have a little plastic part for our E string. So we're going to try and get that right on the bridge just like that. We're going to pull our violin string up. Now be very careful as we're turning the E string. We don't want to break it. Okay, sliding it into the peg. And we're just going to turn this. Now as you can see, my E string liked to pop out of the fine tuner. That happens a lot when you have a fine tuner as opposed to a regular tailpiece that you're threading the string into. So it's not a problem. We're just going to slide it all the way up just like that. And then we're just going to attach it down at the fine tuner again. Sort of hold the plastic piece in place right there with a little bit of tension, and we're going to turn. Be very careful not to overlap the strings on the E string. Okay, now E string, it's better to be really careful and safe and sorry when tuning because we don't want to snap the string. So we're going to go ahead and turn, just small adjustments. And it's gonna go flat, so we're just gonna push it in, turn some more. Keep going. Okay, now I told you to get the violin tuned to the right notes, but don't worry about tuning it super much. The reason for that is that now that the violin strings are on, we need to stretch out the violin strings. So the way that we do that is we take a soft cloth or the cloth that you use to clean your violin with, and we're going to place it on one of the strings. You're going to put your thumb on one side of the string and your pointer finger on the other side, and you're going to squeeze. And what this does is it artificially stretches out the string, so you don't have to spend days, weeks, months trying to break in your new strings. What used to take a month now only takes an hour if you do this. So you're going to stretch out the string on all the strings, just down and back up, just like this, all the way down, all the way back up, and try to make sure that your violin strings keep somewhat tension. Now, of course, obviously this is going to make your violin really out of tune, but that's all right. Okay, now that we did that, we're going to go ahead and tune our violin. So we always start with the A, and we're just a little bit sharp, and then E, a little bit flat, D, and G. Okay, now that we have our violin tuned, we're going to repeat the same process. Grab our rag and stretch out our strings again. One thing to note, I don't know if you noticed, but the original strings that I had on there were green in color, and the new strings are blue. So anytime you change brands of strings, the colors also change. So you know what brand of string you have based on what color markings you have. So if you're not too sure what brand of string you have, you can always Google it and figure it out that way. Okay, then we're just gonna do one final tune and we're ready to play. Expect the first week after you've put on new strings for your violin to go out of tune a lot. Spend some extra time practicing just to make sure that your strings get broken in correctly. As you can hear the bell, so we're just gonna push, turn,